You hate to see it. Jamahal Hill has officially entered the list of most delusional UFC fighters of all time because he has not handled his loss to Alex Pereira well at all. Now, if you guys have been living under a rock for the past few months, yes, UFC 300's main event against Jamahal Hill and Alex Pereira, we saw Alex Pereira knock out Jamahal Hill rather early, and even though it did end early and quick, I actually didn't think the loss was so embarrassing. Like, at the end of the day, I thought Jamahal Hill could just go around and say, look, I got caught, that was that. I think 9 times out of 10, I beat Alex Pereira. Whether you agree with that or not is different, but I don't think it is the most embarrassing loss. You got caught, and that's that. But the way that he has gone about this has just made this loss so much more embarrassing. Like, I don't know what Jamahal Hill is doing by posting a paragraph-long excuse vigorously defending himself about the loss of Alex Pereira, as well as going on Instagram announcing he is going to spar trolls now that have now been trolling him about the loss. And I want to talk about this whole situation, why it's getting brought up now almost 2 months later. But guys, before we get into it, guys, I want to remind you guys to the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. We are almost at 13K. You guys have been killing it with the support. Please, guys, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell. It helps my channel. It helps the algorithm suggest my videos to other people. But let's get into this, guys. All right, as I said, UFC 300's main event was between Alex Pereira and Jamahal Hill, and it was definitely an interesting main event, but at the end of the day, we saw Alex Pereira knock out Jamahal Hill rather early. But first, I want to talk about that fight a little bit, because this is going to be important when we talk about Jamahal Hill and what he's been up to. We see the fight, and I think the number one problem Jamahal Hill has was his game plan. Like, what were you thinking? I talked about in the build-up, maybe Jamahal Hill should try to grapple a little bit. Maybe you should try to clinch him up. You should try to use weird movements, kind of like how Yuri did, mix up his style. But instead, Jamahal Hill genuinely, I think, thought he was going to be the better technical striker, which, let's just say that even is true. You're just giving Alex Pereira the best possible fight to beat you at, because that's where Alex Pereira does his best work. But I gotta say, the game plan was just terrible, because we see Jamahal Hill going tit for tat with Alex Pereira for the first 3 minutes or so of the fight. But then we get to the important part, right? We see Jamahal Hill hit Alex Pereira with a low blow, and the referee goes to kind of step in, and Alex Pereira waves him off. Now, this is the most important part. We see Jamahal Hill visibly put his thumbs up, and not only that, touch the gloves of Alex Pereira. They reset, and then about a few seconds later, yes, Jamahal Hill gets KO'd. And just keep that in mind, because we're going to get into it when we talk about Jamahal Hill's Instagram post about his excuses. But after the loss, I made a video talking about Jamahal Hill's handling of the loss, because he did make a little bit of excuses. However, he did keep it a little bit more contained. Got a return fight right away against Khalil Roundtree. Now he's fighting Carlos Ulberg. We also saw DC on his program kind of hinting at the fact that he had a conversation with Jamahal Hill, and Jamahal Hill had made the excuse of the whole low blow situation and kind of implied that was why he might have gotten knocked down.
Why is more not being made, Ben, about the fact that 5 seconds later, Jamal was controlling the outside with his foot.
Yeah.
They broke. Alex took position.
Yes.
When you rewatch it, left hand lands, knocks him down, bitch.
Now, guys, keep in mind, Alex Pereira is the guy who got fouled, so why does Jamahal Hill want extra space and extra time because Jamahal Hill actually fouled Alex Pereira and did an illegal move? Like, why is he expecting to get rewarded? It makes no sense. He agreed to continue, and he put his thumbs up and everything, but we gotta get into it, guys, because we see Jamahal Hill's Instagram post, and it is insane. But first, what led to this Instagram post? Well, Alex Pereira, he was at the recent UFC 302 event in New Jersey, and he took a picture with Herb Dean, kind of making a joke of that famous photo where he stops the referee from coming in. Now, the problem here is, I don't know if Jamahal Hill was really tagged or not. Apparently, this was edited and he wasn't really tagged. If Jamal really wasn't tagged, I actually don't have a problem with this post at all, because it's just really just referencing the photo, not really making fun of Jamahal Hill. Do I like that kind of antics? Do I think once you beat a guy, you should be a little bit more respectful? Yes. However, I think this was a very light jab. It wasn't like a total mockery. We did see Alex Pereira show a lot of respect to Jamahal Hill in the build-up as well as after. However, I should have expected more, because Jamahal Hill posted on Instagram and posted this side-by-side photo of him beating Glover Teixeira as well as him getting beat by Alex Pereira. Now it's time to read this sad excuse of an Instagram story that was actually liked by Israel Adesanya. You know, the same guy that humped Paulo Costa after he beat him, which makes sense because both these guys have been driven to total delusion due to one man, which is Alex Pereira. All right, now let's read the Instagram post. It says, "Now I haven't really spoke on this, but I went to Brazil and dog walked your guy in one of the most one-sided ass whoopings in championship history, and after showed nothing but respect and paid homage." Now, I'm not going to take credit away from Jamahal Hill. Was that a good win? Absolutely. I thought that Glover Teixeira was going to win, and I was pretty confident going into that fight thinking Glover was going to win. Obviously, Jamahal Hill did very good, dominated Glover Teixeira. So it was a good win, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, to say it was the most dominant win in championship history, that is saying much. But I do get what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, look, when I win, I'm very respectful. I was very respectful to Glover when he lost, which is, of course, Alex Pereira's coach, which is why this is probably going to hit a little bit harder. But I feel like you could have said this in a much better way, because you're just kind of just throwing strays at Glover Teixeira for no reason. Like, Glover Teixeira just got thrown thrown completely under the bus, despite being a great guy anyway, very respectful of Jamahal Hill. And yeah, so it's kind of tough to see. I don't know why Glover got all these strays, and it kind of just defeats the purpose of Jamahal Hill, what he's trying to say. Like, why are you now just disrespecting a former opponent just because you got disrespected by a completely different guy? Yes, they might have some sort of relationship, but for all you know, maybe Glover Teixeira would agree with you and say, yeah, Alex shouldn't be posting these things. I've never celebrated over an opponent I beat, and even called out my fans for disrespecting Johnny Walker after I slept him. But because I showed competitive fire and was excited to be back after an injury that could have ended my career, y'all think this was funny or cool. After reading that part, I'm not sure if Jamahal Hill posted this because of this Instagram photo at all. He might have just been thinking about the celebration alone. So I don't know if this is supposed to be some sort of, you know, implied excuse that he came back too soon after the injury. I would totally be on board for that. However, he literally took a fight the next week at UFC 300. So if he was really so bad, why wouldn't you just wait? It makes no sense. Why are you taking another fight? Why are you going to make these same mistakes? At this point, you're not learning from those mistakes, even if this is true. So really, it's just shame on you. At Alex Pereira, you really set up a punch you couldn't get without a weird, confusing moment and did some weak shit, but okay, because you will fight me again, and my eyes won't leave you until you're as stiff as Izzy left you in Miami. I always find it cringe when fighters roast another fighter for their loss to a completely different fighter. Like in this case, we see Jamahal Hill roasting Alex Pereira for his loss against Izzy. Like, dude, we all know you just wish you were Izzy and beat Alex Pereira at 300. And for him to say that this is a weird, confusing moment, like, what are you talking about? It's a foul. Like, I have sparred before, right? And look, of course, I've never sparred anybody to the level of Alex Pereira nor Jamahal Hill. But what I'm trying to say is, like, there's been distracting things that happen. It's not like it takes me like 10 seconds and I'm not a professional fighter. I mean, look at me. Like, I'm not at all in a case where I'm going to, you know, pick up on these things fast. So if I'm to say that it takes 10 seconds, even that is an extremely long time in my opinion. You should be able to do it a lot faster. You're a professional fighter. You do this for a living. You practice in the gym for this every day. So to act like this is a big confusing moment, it's like fouls happen all the time in fights. This makes no sense. But that was basically it for the Instagram post, but Jamahal Hill doesn't end it there because, yeah, I guess he got a lot of hate from this as expected. I don't know what he thought. Like, did he really think he was gonna post this and fans were gonna be like, oh my god, Jamahal Hill totally has a point? Like, what? This makes absolutely no sense. So then he posts on Instagram saying that he's willing to spar any fan for 20K.
Can only talk so much shit before somebody, you know what I mean, start to say something back. So for all y'all that's talking all this shit about this fighting shit, y'all want to speak on some fighting shit, we talk money shit, nigga. 20 bands. Pull up to the gym. Anybody that, all y'all that's talking on these posts and all of this shit, talking this and that, I got 20 bands.
Guys, I'm not lying. I'll take the 20K, right? Jamahal Hill, look, if you're looking to beat up on somebody, I'll be that guy. Fly me out to Las Vegas. You could film it. I don't care. Give me the 20K. I mean, I sound like a whore now. Like, what the hell? But seriously.
You do realize if you get knocked out, choked out, or I snap something of yours, you get nothing, right? Y'all do understand this, right?
My point is that even if he beats me up or any fan up, right? Even if he beats him up for 25 minutes, what is that going to prove? I would still say, Jamahal Hill, you are still delusional. You still can't accept a loss to Alex Pereira. I don't even think the loss is that embarrassing, right? Like, I think if Jamahal Hill would have kept his mouth shut, I probably would have been here defending him. It's just the fact he is so delusional. Like, beating up on a fan for 20, like, this is just the most ridiculous bonehead thing I've ever heard come out of this guy's mouth. 20, like, what is that gonna prove? Like, was anyone gonna see him beat a fan and literally be like, oh man, yeah, he could totally beat Alex Pereira? That changes nothing. I don't care what happens. You could knock out 15 fans for all I care. It's not going to change anything. Now, despite doing all of this, Alex Pereira still managed to destroy him in social media by commenting, "You reap what you sow, Chama." Bro's been listening to that Kendrick Lamar. But look, at the end of the day, I don't think this is the worst thing from Jamahal Hill. As long as he's okay with getting clowned by everybody in existence, this does add a little bit heat to a rematch. Like, if Jamahal Hill does go on a winning streak, let's just say he wins like 2 or 3 fights in a row, at this point, with the bad blood that's gone on in social media, I actually wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. And at the end of the day, yes, Jamahal Hill's made a lot of excuses, but the only excuse he should really make is he did get caught early. Maybe if Jamahal Hill decides to implement some more grappling, maybe that does change to a different result. So I just think the way that he's handled this has just been so horrible, guys. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And check out my last video where I talked about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. That fight getting canceled, what's going on with that fight, and Jake Paul is so embarrassing. I think by the time this is uploaded, the new date for the fight should be out. So yeah, go check it out, guys. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best fan base in MMA, and I'll see you guys in the next one.